Hey guys, I'm live as usual. Sorry I haven't had a podcast for a couple of days. Yeah, I had to redo the podcast room and I had to strip it down and rebuild it. I won't have the microphone and headsets back for another day yet. Um, so that's okay. Boy, those glasses are all scratched up. Okay, so here we are. I wanted to talk about today. Well, first of all, let's take care of business as always. Let's please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Like what we're doing here. Make sure you hit a like before you leave today. And leave a comment. I love comments. I love to come back and interact later if you guys aren't commenting live. And then finally, share it with your friends. Share it with your Hawkeye friends. Share it with your Cyclone friends. Share it with your Husker fans. They'll all appreciate it. Just share it. Okay. So, okay, today's podcast is going to be about three things. We're going to discuss the tight ends for the 2024 season. Okay. Been wanting to do that. And okay, we're going to also discuss the latest commit that we got for football. And we're going to do a quick preview of all the big recruiting weekend that Hawkeyes are. We're hosting a bunch of recruits. Some have committed, some have not. Some don't even look like they even want to come to Iowa based on what I've seen, but they're here this weekend, and so let's just hope that they roll out the big carpet for them. So let's start with Mason Richmond. Not Mason, I'm sorry. Mason Richmond's, I just was going to say this later. I wrote down it. His brother was supposed to come this weekend, but I don't think he's coming because he is committed to K-State. He committed yesterday. And so we'll talk about the rest of the recruits, but I got it started because Mason Woods um, committed yesterday for the 2025 class. He's a three-star athlete. He can play a variety of positions. He's 6'1", 190. He's, as you guys know, he's the son of LeVar Woods. So that being the case, we beat out Missouri and Kansas for him, although Missouri and Kansas didn't really have much of a chance. So he had in his high school numbers look pretty solid. He had 35 catches for 535 yards and three touchdowns. He also had 17 and a half tackles, three for a loss, and two interceptions. And he's Iowa's known eighth commit that we know about. Okay, all right. And so I just wanted to get that out there. So let's go. Let's talk about the recruits coming this weekend. Okay. All right. Okay. The first one is we got a 4-star um, with a rating of 91.18. He is coming. It's Nick Brooks. He's coming from Cedar Rapids, Kennedy. I believe he was a native. Uh, um, yeah. Yes. Yes. Fast outdoor food. They got quite a few last year too. But this is why this is a big weekend that they got all these recruits coming in, and it's a good weekend to, like maybe by July 1st, these guys get some commits. I heard broadcaster this morning saying he's predicting 4.5 commits, whatever that means. I guess that's an over or under. So either 5 or 4 commits, he's thinking. Okay, so we start with Nick Brooks out of Cedar Rapids. Now he moved from Georgia to Cedar Rapids because to be closer to family and be closer to the Hawkeyes because originally he had committed to the Hawkeyes and now he's decommitted, but Hawkeyes are still in the mix. Okay, it shows here that Georgia's at a 59% and Iowa's at a 32%. I understand that this is media and fans. I guess this is their voting, thinking where he will go. So I don't take any credence to some of this stuff that these predictors have on here because it might. Okay. All right, we already have a hard commit in Thomas Meyer. He's a tight end out of Clear Lake. 6'5", 210, but he will be here this weekend. So hopefully he can convince a few guys to come and visit. Then we have Terrence Smith, a wide receiver. He has Iowa, or they have Iowa at 55%, and Minnesota 35% or 37%. So we need to beat Minnesota this. But he's a wide receiver, 3-star, oh, 4-star. I'm sorry, he's a 4-star, 6'4", 185, out of Illinois. Okay, and so I think this is important to nab this, because this will be a good time for Budmeyer to show that he can do his job as a wide receiver and convince a wide receiver to actually sign with Iowa or commit to Iowa and sign with them, because we need that. And I think until we can prove that we're going to use the wide receivers and that the wide receivers are going to catch a lot of balls this year, we might have trouble convincing a wide receiver to come to Iowa. So that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough sell, but it does show that he's it looks like he's leaning toward Iowa a little bit, but you never know until he does. Okay, then we have Carson Cooney. He's already a commit for Iowa, a 3-star, and he's a linebacker, 6'3" and a half at 215 pounds, also out of Illinois. And so, but he's already committed. Then we got Lucas Algier. Algier. He's an offensive tackle. He's 6'8". He's a 3-star. He's 260 pounds. He's out of St. Louis. So he's got a national ranking of 504. His position is 37, and in St. Louis he's listed as, in Missouri he's listed as number 7. I think Kansas State is 88% leaning toward Kansas State in the voting, and 5% Hawkeye. So it looks to me like this guy is very much leaning toward Kansas State. So they need to. Iowa has some work to do this weekend with him, and hopefully some of the hard commits already there and some of the players there can help show him such a good time that he won't turn it down. Okay, then we got Brock Heath. Okay, he's an interior offensive lineman. All right. He's 6'5", 258, and he's out of Overland Park, Kansas. No surprise, he has both the big Kansas schools, Kansas State at 29%, Kansas at 20%, and I don't know where Iowa is on this list, but apparently Iowa's not even close. Okay, and then we got Brooke, I'm going to say Goucher. He's a hard commit already, and he's out of Illinois, linebacker, 6'2", 200 pounds. So it looks like we've got some linebackers we're lining up for this year. That's really nice. Then we go down to Joshua Gurrier. This guy has Texas at 30%, Pittsburgh at 20%. Like I said, don't take these percentages. My understanding is this is a kind of a media fan vote where people think he's going. This doesn't say that he says, "Oh, I've got Texas at 30 and Pitt at 20." But again, Iowa's not listed here, so I would assume that Iowa's down the list of ways. But he's also listed as an athlete, 5'11", 180 pounds, out of Florida. Then we got another commit, Joey Van Winzinga. Joey Van Winzinga. Okay, that's how I'm saying it. I'm probably saying it wrong. His brother is already at Iowa. I believe his brother's listed as a tight end. He's an interior lineman at 6'2", 250 pounds, from Pleasant Valley, Iowa. He's rated as the 8th best player in the state of Iowa. Okay. It says he was a hard commit on July 1, 23, but he's also listed as undecided. And then, of course, we talked about Mason Woods earlier. And so we talked about Mason Woods earlier, and so he's a 3-star, listed as the 9th best in the state of Iowa, and he's a hard commit and just committed yesterday. So you guys already know about him. How about Cameron Herron? He's got Iowa 87%, Cincinnati 4%. He's an interior lineman, 6'4", 260, out of Indianapolis. And so it looks like that he's one that we're going to get this weekend, probably Of course, we already know about Jimmy Sullivan, the quarterback, 6'3", 180 pounds, also out of Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana. He committed on December 16th, 2023. So he's going to be a future quarterback for Iowa, but right now he's got a lot of people in front of him. Eli Johnson is also a commit, tight end, 6'5", 220 out of River Falls, Wisconsin. And in the state of Wisconsin, he's listed as the 10th best player. So that's really good. Guys, any comments and questions you have, I'll come back and get to those. So don't think I'm ignoring you. So hang around to listen to my answer. Okay, and then we got Brad Fitzgibbon, defensive line, 6'4", 280 pounds out of Chicago. Listed as the 27th best player in the state of Illinois. Iowa's listed at 51%, Michigan State at 42%. So we got our work cut out because it sounds like there's a little Michigan State going on here. We got Ryan Fitzgerald, as you guys know, Pat Fitzgerald's son. He's also listed as a quarterback, 6'3", 205 pounds, 3-star, 33rd best in the state of, I'm going to assume, Illinois. Iowa at 90%, but that's because he's already committed. I don't know when they did these things because he's already committed to Iowa. But I don't recognize the thing. It looks like UConn 3%. Scott Starsky, okay. He's on his official visit as well. Kicker 5'9", 172. There's no stars listed, no ranking for him at all. It looks like Syracuse is at 52% and Iowa at 44%. But he's also in for the visit. Christian Hudson's also in for a visit. UCF is listed at 27%, Iowa 24%. He's a defensive lineman at 6'0", 260 pounds out of Florida. And there's no national ranking or stars on him either. That doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't any. They're just not here. Same with CJ Bell. He's got Rutgers at 42% and Iowa at 19%. You guys notice that Rutgers is cleaning up lately they have been cleaning up. Rutgers has been cleaning up on the recruiting trail this year. And this guy, watch out for Rutgers. I never thought they would be a serious contender, but maybe they will be. They're getting some decent position. Also, this one has listed no stars and no national ranking, but he's a cornerback, 6.5 foot and 160 pounds. I don't know if that's. I really don't know much about why they're not there, but okay, we already know that Jose Espinoza, AJ's brother, has already he came a couple of weeks ago and they rolled out the red carpet for him. Iowa is listed in the lead at 32% and University of Miami at 20%. And I understand that the University of Miami has a Samoan, has a real large Samoan community there, and several players are Samoan and stuff. So he might feel more comfortable at the University of Miami. But as I heard before, University of Miami and Missouri are high on the list as well. Okay. Wisdom Fody has already been here. They don't have anything other than athlete at 6'2", 195. Jimmy Sullivan is already committed. He's a cornerback. He's already been here. Chris McCorkle has already been here. So he won't be here this week. And but he's got the Gators at 51% and Indiana at 4%. So those are the guys that are coming. So while we're talking a little bit about recruiting, let's go back and see if we can hit some of your answer some of your things. Okay. All right. Hawkeye 2017 says, will Iowa ever have the next Sean Green? I think they will. We've got a good stable of running backs and more coming in already. So, if you go back and find my running back pod from it'd be like three podcasts ago. So if you go to my YouTube channel and scroll through, you can find what I have to say about the um, about the running backs and how I feel about it. But we've got some excellent running backs, and most people have LaShawn Williams being that number one running back this year. I disagree. I think it's going to be Johnson. I think Johnson's going to have a great year. Okay, Fast Outdoor Food says, has Iowa been recruiting well out of Illinois this year? My understanding is they are hitting Illinois, specifically the Chicago area, really hard this year. And so, um, what's great about that is that means we're hitting it harder, or we're out recruiting our nemesis Illinois and Northwestern in that state. Two states who should clean up on that. Okay. All right. Rutgers has a lot of money NIL. I bet they do, being out of New York and everything. Or how do you say that? Piscataway. I can't even say it right, guys. Anybody who knows me knows I have trouble with it. That's why I could never be a color man or a play-by-play man, is because I would stumble over the names. Even when I have the pronunciation right in front of me, I would still mess it up. Okay, let's go back and let's talk about the tight ends. Okay, we have quite a few tight ends listed on our roster this year. We'll start with Jalen Thompson, 6'2", 246 pounds. He's a redshirt freshman. Okay, then we have Zach Ortwith at 6'3", 220 pounds. He's a sophomore. And these are going to be what this season, what their classes, what this season is. Okay, we got Andrew Linktish, 6'4", 252. I don't have his class. Kyson Van Vogue, 6'6", 274, sophomore. Johnny Pacuzzi, who had entered the transfer portal earlier, is back. He's back at Iowa, 242, and a junior. Luke Lachey is back. It had not been for his injury, he'd probably be in the NFL right now. He's 6'6", 253 pounds, and this will be his senior year, so he'll be out of eligibility. And by the way, guys, I think most of these guys are going to be out of eligibility. I don't think there's any more COVID extra years to use. I think most of them are being used this year. And after that, I don't think anybody's eligible for that, but I could be wrong. Okay, then we got Addison Ostrenga, 6'4", 255. He's a junior. Michael Burt, he's 6'6", 225 pounds, a freshman. Grant Leeper, 6'5", 230, redshirt freshman. We also have Rusty Van Witzinga, the brother of the recruit coming this weekend. 6'0", 240, redshirt freshman. We have then listed at tight end and fullback is Hayden Large. Although he didn't do anything for fullback, he played in all 14 games this year, so I imagine they used him mainly for a blocker. But he did get 2 catches for 17 yards this past season, so he will probably play some tight end and fullback this year. And he's out of Dordt College, as you know, and he had 62 catches for 950 yards and 12 TDs. Honestly, for any tight end, that's a pretty solid number. You don't really see tight ends getting over 1,000 yards unless your name is George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and those kind of people in the NFL. Okay. And so I honestly feel like he's going to figure into both the fullback and tight end thing. I'm not going to go through every freaking tight end. I just want to talk about the ones I think have a chance to really make a difference and really make a play. Okay, we got Luke Lachey. Okay, in 2024, he only played 3 games because of injury. But he was 10 catches for 131 yards, and he had 13.1 yards per catch. Excellent. That'll keep the ball moving down the field every time, guys. Every time. Okay. But he's played a total of 30 games with a total of 46 catches, 662 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an average of 14.4 yards per catch. So his total career, he's done a lot better his total career than he did last year. Okay. Then you got Addison Ostrenga, who had to step up big time after Luke and Eric all went down last year with injuries. But he's played in his career 25 games, 32 for 198 yards. He caught 32 passes for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 6.2 yards per catch. Honestly, that will keep these sticks moving too. Then Johnny Pacuzzi, I was surprised. I thought he played in all 12 games. Must have been mainly as a blocker. And so he played in 12 games, but he was 1 for 1. He had 1 catch for 1 yard. Okay. And then I think there might be. I think Michael Burt. He's a freshman, but I think he could make some noise. But these are the only ones who I think are going to make some noise this year. He had 11 for 187 yards his senior season in high school, 1 touchdown. His senior season, 3 touchdowns the year before. And so he did. I think he has a chance to make some noise, Michael Burt. But honestly, besides Miller and Hayden Large playing, I've got Eli Miller, 6'1", 227 pounds, a fullback. Besides those two playing fullback, Hayden Large and Eli Miller, and maybe they'll do some catching of the balls. But Addison Ostrenga, Luke Lachey, Johnny Bacuzzi, and Michael Burt are the only ones as tight ends I see getting in this year, unless injuries happen again. And so that's where I'm at with the tight ends. Luke Lachey, of course, will be the number 1 tight end, followed by Addison Ostrenga, and then the next 2 would be, I guess Pacuzzi. Some of these other guys, these new guys might step up. While we're talking about the tight end, let's go down. I'll come back to these other questions, guys. Calvin thinks Gavin Hoffman, who I did read off earlier. He's a freshman coming in, and maybe Calvin's telling us that he has a chance to play. He might over Pacuzzi. He might over Michael Burt. I was just kind of looking and just kind of guessing from my point. I'm no expert, so I just kind of think that maybe that he has a better chance than the others. But I wouldn't put it past Gavin Hoffman to get some looks because, yeah. And that's a good point, Calvin. That's a good point. He's already had some spring practice going on. So good point, Calvin. I always appreciate your input. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go back and answer some of these other questions. Will Iowa's O-line get better? I will tell you right now, we probably have the most experienced and oldest offensive line in the nation. Now, you notice I didn't say anything about better. But you would think after these guys, most of these guys have played 3 and 4 years on the line now. You'd think that they would be better and finally get it, right? And our offense, our O-line started going down when the new O-line coach took over 3 years ago. Now, Kirk has all the faith in the world in him, okay? It might not be his fault. It might be attrition, these guys learning wrong way or something. But I do like what I saw from a film back during spring practice with Tim Lester. He was actually working with the O-line as Kirk Ferentz was, talking to these guys about where they needed to be on a certain position. So that really made me feel better that we're just not depending on an O-line coach to do it all himself. He's getting help from the head coach. He's getting help from the offensive coordinator. They're working together. If they can work together, that would be great. Just like Bud Meyer is getting help from Lester on the wide receiving, because we know that Bud Meyer doesn't have the experience. Okay. Um, Hawkeyes 2017 says I have a tough time trusting our O line coach. I understand that. I really do. The O line for the last 3 seasons hasn't been up to snuff. But let's see what happens this year with all the experience they've got and everything, and with Tim Lester in there helping, with Kirk in there helping with the offensive line. Let's just see. Let's just see if we see a marked improvement. Now, guys, we're going to probably just not see a. We're going to probably see a vanilla offense in week 1 against. I think it's Illinois State. All right, we're not. They're not going to show much to put on film. Okay, because Iowa State is the following week. And the last thing we need to do is it's a good Iowa State team, improving Iowa State team, who has the capability to come into Kenneck and beat us next year or this season. So we don't want to show them anything new that we're going to do. So don't base what you see from the O-line, from the running backs, from the wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, anything on offense. Don't base what you see that's what we're going to see the rest of the season. Just keep in mind, we're going to have to wait till Iowa State to see just what the difference in our offense is going to be. My prediction, okay? Okay, where is he from? Burr? I don't even know. You mean Burr, Iowa? Okay, and then, of course, Calvin, we're back to the one. Okay, so, guys, I really appreciate you guys being here. I mean, there's enough of you online. If you guys want to throw some questions about anything or any comments about anything, I will definitely come back and try to click some things on. I mean, now that you're all here, let me just say, go ahead, while all of you are on here, go ahead and hit the like button while you're on here. Help my algorithm a little bit. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to have you guys subscribe. And then share it. Leave some comments and then just share it. Share it with your buddies. Like I said, share it with the Hawkeye people. They would love to. They would love for you to have. Oh yeah, Bert. Okay, Omaha. All right. Calvin says that he's from Omaha. And Bert. Okay. So yeah, this is not okay. It's been a quick show. I had hoped I didn't want to get it. I could have made it longer by going into all the other um, tight ends on the list. But when you think about it, most of them aren't going to play. And I just picked out the ones I thought would play and see some time this year, based on previous history, based on experience. Kirk is a very good loyalist. He will stick with his most experienced people. So that being a given. Okay. All right. Now, so yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it there, guys. Leave everything on a positive, upbeat note. We are going to discuss the O-line and the defensive line on my next video, and then we'll get into the DBs and the linebackers on the following one, and then somewhere along the line I'll throw the kickers in because some of them won't take much to do, and so maybe 3 more videos on the preview of the season, and then I'll do another video where I'm hoping to get some people on here with us and soon that I want to go through. So Hawkeye 2017 says, don't forget the strength and conditioning coach. Are you meaning that in a good way or a bad way? Because I know that a bunch of people are blaming the lack of Doyle for our lack of toughness on the O-line. But at the same time Doyle left, we also had a change at the offensive line position coach. So So, but yeah, I can talk about the strength and conditioning coach. I don't know much about him. Okay. Yes. Yes. He will. When I do the kickers, we'll talk about Tory Taylor's replacement. He's another Aussie. He's only 18, whereas I believe Tory Taylor's probably like 25, 26 years old. So he's a little older. Okay. Um, so okay. Okay. But you wanted my take. Okay. Um, I have a neutral take on that because on the current coach, um, because at the same time Doyle left, we also had a change in O line coaching, and so I don't know who to blame. There is the O line not getting big and beefy and mean, because Doyle's not there to make them bigger and beefier, or does the new do I does our current strength and conditioning coach not working these guys as hard? I believe he is. I believe he is. They just have to build these guys when they come in. Some of these guys come in way overweight, so they have to make them lose weight, and then they have to gain weight the right way and build them back up. Other guys come in way underweight, and so they have to start building them back up weight wise with muscle and stuff, and make them stronger. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Just frustrated with too many injuries. There have been a lot of injuries. We seem to have our more than our fair share, especially to key people. But is that a Doyle fault? Because it looks to me like Calvin. He looks like he blames Doyle, but he's saying for being racist. I don't think he's blaming Doyle for the fact that the injuries happen. Like if you're saying, are these guys overworking in the weight room and then overworking on the field, so it's leading to injuries? That could be. I heard from a guy last year. It might have been the season before. Um, oh, I can't think of the guy. We lost him to Oregon. He was a defensive player. Defense was supposed to be built around him. And I heard from his agent, his NIL agent. By the way, these guys can have agents if they want to. And I heard from him, who was actually surprised that he left Iowa for Oregon because they had NI deals worked out for him. Um, yeah, um, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is even Doyle. Doyle, we had a lot of injuries when Doyle was here too. Um, but anyway, this guy left, and they blamed they blamed unnecessary injuries that season. Um, yeah, so yeah. Okay, I'm just going through here. What do you think will be the biggest change on offense? More stretch runs, deep passes, different routes by receivers. I think you're going to see the running backs get involved in the receiving more. There's supposed to be a run pass option. I'm not sure how that works. I need to get Jason on here. Maybe you guys know how that works. But I mean, it sounds like to me like it just the quarterback can keep the ball, run it, fake a handoff and keep it himself, or fake a handoff and pass it. That's what it sounds like to me. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think with the running backs we got, I don't know if I want stretch runs if you're meaning running to the side of the corner, because that got us into trouble last year. Because all these guys had to do was follow us to the side. I want to see us do more like a Sean Green, like you mentioned Sean Green earlier. I just want to see some holes open up and these guys run through these holes. I believe LaShawn Williams could run through those holes straight up. I think Johnson can run through those holes straight up. I think the others might have to run on the edge, but yeah, I don't know how much we're going to see differently or how much is going to be vanilla. All we can do is wait and see until the Iowa State game. Um, Wait, hang on. Whoa, whoa. Can you guys still see me? I lost you. I don't have anything on my screen. There we go. Okay, so run the QB. Honestly, I think the QB run. I I'm saying only if Cade's capable of it, and that's the thing. If Cade's our starting quarterback, how's he going to run? Although the video I saw of him working out this week looked good, looked good. I think in the case that um, I think in the case of Cade, he's got to be able to put the ball down and run, and he has done that. We watched him do that. Matter of fact, he got injured twice last year. Once on Kids Day, and once in I believe in was it the Penn State game or the game after? He got hurt doing exactly that, taking the ball and running on his own. I think Brandon Sullivan, the supposedly starting number 2 quarterback in front of Marco. They're saying Marco's passing's not ready yet, but we all saw what Marco could do in the bowl game. He could run. He could run. He could keep plays alive. We need quarterbacks to keep the plays alive, like Brad Banks did. Bether did, and that's true too. Bether called his own plays, I guess. How many quarterbacks were allowed to call their own plays over the years? I certainly don't think Deacon Hill did last year. So anyhow, but yeah, the quarterback situation. It would not surprise me if Brandon Sullivan became our starter because he can do that run pass option better because he can run, and he kept a lot of plays alive. Let me take this text message real quick. It might be important. Oh, never mind. Okay. I thought it was important, but it wasn't. It was a joke. All right, so guys, I think this would be a good place to end it, unless you guys got some more comments. I do appreciate you guys being on here tonight. Thank you for a lot of comments and questions. Yeah, so thank you. It'll be a short one today, so I guess people can, when they see it on the replay, don't have to worry about watching much. But yeah, I should get back to normal with some headsets and microphones pretty quick. This was just a quick setup today, and so okay, I was glad you're able to catch you this time. Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I know they keep you busy where you're at. Okay, all righty. Thank you for answering. Yep, thank you. He's out. Okay, all right. I guess with that, I'm going to go out too. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you.